Welcome to Wealth Made Simple with Shaz, where you'll learn how to master your money through business, property, and tax-saving strategies. Your host has collectively helped his clients make tens of millions of pounds in additional profits through these strategic approaches to business. Introducing Shaz Nawaz, an award-winning chartered accountant, property tax expert, entrepreneur, and property investor.
Welcome to Wealth Made Simple.
Thank you, Kieran. Pleasure to be here.
So this week, I thought we'd talk a bit about comfort zones and stepping outside your comfort zone, staying in your comfort zones, things to do around comfort. Because we have talked a lot about mindset and about things that go on, but we don't. And we talk about being in your comfort zone, stepping out of your comfort zone. It's good for you. But we kind of gloss over these sorts of things. So, like last week, we glossed over last week, maybe the week before, glossed over generalizations or things like that. Initial things that we talk about, but we don't really ever give a full deep dive to. So that's what we're doing right now.
Let's do it.
Let's get into it. So, without further ado, what is the comfort zone?
Well, the comfort zone for me really is, let's talk about it in terms of a boundary that you work within, that you're familiar with, that's your routine, it's habitual, and you just stay in it because you're familiar with it. And anything that's new, different, possibly challenging, foreign, in inverted commas, as in unknown to you, alien to you, takes you outside your comfort zone or outside stuff that you know and recognize, and therefore makes you a little bit apprehensive and possibly fearful. Yeah.
And I mean, for me, I find...
And by the way, that's not the Oxford Dictionary meaning, but that's just how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, I see it very similarly. I see... living in the comfort zone is a place where nothing changes. It's comfortable, but it's also where stagnation happens because you get so used to just the same things day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, day out.
And some people like that.
What? And that's fine, but you don't find any new meaning in life. You don't find anything new. You don't find anything different. You do the same thing. You get the same results, and nothing ever changes. And there's no variation in there.
Yeah, but I think it's important, Kieran, if somebody's really happy there, because we're all different, okay? Just like everything else, people come in 50 shades of grey. And if someone says, I'm really happy here, I'm in a good place, and there's some people who work with us who have a particular pattern, and they're ecstatic about it and think, I don't want to change. And as you've seen, we've talked about our opportunities. They just don't want them because they've found what really works for them. Hey, I find peace here. I'm happy here. I don't want to change this. I know what I've got. I know what I'm missing out on, but I'm happy and content with what I've got, and I'll stay here. And that's fine. But what I find is that the majority of people aren't like that.
Yeah, I think that's the exception rather than the rule.
Yeah, that's right.
I think, take for example, and a roller coaster. Yeah. When you get on the roller coaster, you're a little bit apprehensive. You know it's going to go fast. You know it's going to throw you around corners a little bit. It's going to be a little bit shaky in times, but you're going to get off. And when you get off a roller coaster, you've done a couple of loop-to-loops. You've gone up fast. You've gone down fast. You've gone down even faster. You've done a corkscrew sideways. You've been thrown this way and that. You're a little bit battered, but you're still okay. You survived.
Are you talking about your last trip to Alton Towers?
But that adrenaline rush just makes you feel that much more alive, doesn't it?
I think it's brilliant. Yeah, I love it. And
that's kind of how I see life in general, mostly. If you staying in your comfort zone where you're comfortable, where nothing's risky, nothing changes. It's like waiting in line at the amusement park and waiting for that roller coaster, and then stepping outside of your comfort zone, getting on the roller coaster.
Well, I tell you what,
something happens, around the roller coaster, you go up, round, corkscrew, all the rest of it. You get off, you feel more alive, but you're back in your comfort zone.
I tell you where I see this often is if you go networking,
Yep.
whether it's a regular networking club or session or a new one, and you see people talking, and as you talk to some of them, you realize that they know each other from before.
Yeah.
And if you go to the regular ones, the same ones talk, or the same people talk to the same people. And then they moan about, man, I don't get much business here. I've been coming for 6 months and come every week or whatever the frequency is. But you think, well, you talk to the same people that you already know, and maybe you need some of them from before. So if they were going to give you business, they'd be giving it to you by now. There's 55 of the people in the room, by the way, who you've not met.
The same 5.
Who you've not met, from what you've told me, and they've been coming here for the last 3 months or whatever, so not as long as you are, and they've got contacts that you may be interested in. So why don't you? But I don't like it. I don't know them, and it's the small talk, and I've got to make an effort, and not sure, and I'm a bit of an introvert, and all of these things. And obviously they're valid for some people, but now you've made the effort, because entering that door when you're going networking, for example, up until then, I think most people dread it. Because even I can't be bothered, I can't be asked, that kind of stuff. The 54 things you think about, how am I going to get there, what I'm going to wear, all those kind of things as well, who I'm going to talk to, what I'm going to talk about, I just don't feel like it, what are the alternatives right now, all those things go to your mind. But once you enter the door, you think, I'm glad I turned up, because good speaker, good presentation, talk to a couple of people, we're going to have a break now, and then after the break, to do some more stuff. And it's always better than you think it is.
Yeah, and I think it's a little bit of a psychological thing, but it's also a societal thing, if you like. It's a lot harder to make friends when you're an adult. So for the first 10 minutes or 5 minutes during that breakout session, whenever you have at someone networking event, or just in general, embrace your inner child. Just go up to someone and say hello. That's all it takes. Children are fearless. You see, as a child, I would climb trees. I would get in a, completely unsafe, trolley box thing, go downhill at who knows what speed, and crash into the, mud at the end of the road, and get up and go, yeah, that was great. Let's do it again. The thought of doing that as an adult just fills me with dread.
I bet it does, yeah.
How many bones am I going to break? This could happen, that could happen.
No, but
and that's educational.
But to start off with, you think people will think I'm stupid and I'm a fool, and it's going to make me look silly. Yeah. That's where you probably start, or most people start, and then everything is about breaking your bones and how fun it's going to be or not good. Do you know what I mean? Most people,
for most people, I start at the pain and then work back to foolish right at the end. Yeah. But then again,
we know you're odd.
We know I'm odd, and we know that I accept.
You're not like most people. Yeah.
I'm not like most people. Yeah.
But that's why you're the host.
But this is the thing. Children have no concept of how this could hurt them or how this could affect them, how they look doing it. They just don't care.
They want to have the fun, yeah.
They're interested in having fun and nothing else. And so they do things.
So you're saying bring back the fun.
Bring back the fun. Embrace your inner child. Because, how many times, and okay, you probably, it depends on whether or not you've got children, but how many times do you go and see family, friends, or friends that have recently had children? The child's never met you, but it comes up to you with zero fear and come see my toys, or come play, and no fear whatsoever. And that's fantastic. And for that brief 5 minutes at the start of something, you need to have that fearless, childlike curiosity of what's the best result? Because children don't think about what the worst result is. Adults do that. We think, oh, if I do this, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? Yeah. Our default as adults is, what is the worst? What is the pain? What is the...
Because you've been through some of that before, and then...
But also, to a degree, what is the excuse I can have for not doing it?
Yeah.
Children don't have that. They just go, oh, look, a new friend. And they've instantly... what's the word I'm looking for? Projected that friendship onto you before even, connecting with you in any way, shape or form and going, you're my friend now, so that's great. Let's go and play.
Let's share my toys. So, outside a comfort zone or after a comfort zone, are there any other zones, Kieran?
There are. So a lot of people generally talk about, the comfort zone into the growth zone, but you skip the two zones in the middle. And so you've got your comfort zone. You step outside your comfort zone, you've got that fear zone. That's the zone where you sit affected by other people's opinions, where you're going to find excuses, or you're going to use a lack of self-confidence, a lack of self-belief to move back into the comfort zone. It's probably the hardest zone to get out of, is that fear zone. Then outside of the fear zone, you've got the learning zone, the place where you suddenly realize that you can deal with challenges and problems, and you learn how to overcome them, how to deal with them, how to get past, and how to grow. You acquire new skills. You extend. You make your comfort zone slightly bigger by learning these skills, and then once you've learned those skills, then you get into the growth zone where you can live your dreams. You can live out that fantasy of going downhill at a rate of knots in a three-wheeled box car because the fourth wheel's fallen off about 20 yards back. That's where growth is. That's where the fearlessness is. But you can't spend, and everyone talks about getting into the growth zone and how amazing it is, how transformative it is. And it is transformative, but you can't live your life there. That's the other thing. You do have to spend time in the comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you spend all your time living on the edge of anxiety and fear and learning and growing and you can't spend all your time in the growth zone. You do have, but also
it'd be too much anyway, wouldn't it? It'd be relentless.
Yeah, but also, if you think of it as, say, let's do this in concentric circles in meters. So to begin with, your comfort zone is a meter round. Then the fear zone's 2 meters. The learning zone's 2.5 meters. The growth zone's 3 meters. But if you spend enough time in the growth zone, it becomes your comfort zone. So now your comfort zone is 3 meters wide. Then you've got to go into the fear zone again, which is now even bigger. And this is how you grow. But that circle keeps getting bigger.
Like, it's when somebody's looking to exercise or go to the gym, you've got to go through that pain to extend your muscles, okay, to then be able to go up a weight, okay, or to run that bit extra, or to swim that much more. But until you go to that pain and you grow your muscles, you're not going to be able to move on to the next step, the next stage.
Yeah, and I mean, anatomically, from what I understand, and someone out there can correct me if I'm wrong, but when you push your muscles to fatigue, or when you push your muscles through lifting heavy weights, what happens is you get micro tears in the muscles that allow them to grow, and then they once they heal, and that's the pain you get when you're healing, then they've grown stronger. Then you repeat the process, and that's how.
And that's what you're doing with your mind.
And that's what you're doing with your mind.
And then you're building your muscle memory.
Yep.
So it gets used to being in that particular place, situation, circumstance, and then you can then build on that.
Yeah, exactly that. And I mean, when you were growing up, and certainly, I had this.
I still am.
My bones hurt, my muscles hurt. Everything's a bit achy. We've just had a growth spurt. Growing pains.
Yeah.
So we, from a very young age, understand that growing can be painful, but it's worth it. And yet somehow we
I'm
forget.
not sure about that. I want to go on that roller coaster. Yeah.
But yet somehow we forget that as adults, that continual growth is necessary.
The experience gets in the way, doesn't it? And then you kind of your experiences and what you've seen in your life, okay, and your subconscious starts feeding you all that, and you think about all the negative connotation, how things went wrong, and how you ought not to do that again. And you're wiser, you're smarter. That's not a good idea, and you just block so much interesting opportunities just because in the past
You
something
never
didn't
get
quite
past
work
that
out.
fear zone.
You never get past fear zone. That's right.
Yeah,
And that just blocks you.
yeah, and
Heuristics is what it's called. Heuristics. That's when you use your past knowledge, experience, expertise, information. Okay.
love that.
Yeah. To then base. Okay. How should I deal with this in this situation? And your mind says, well, this is how things have panned out, and then you link things that sometimes aren't connected. Okay. And you become fearful.
Interesting. Did anyone else know what that was called at home? Because that's a new word on me. I like that.
There you go. That's
Is,
your,
so is that a bit like when you were at school? I mean, when we were at school, we learnt maths, we learnt science, we learnt all the core skills. But you spend your life going. I mean, okay, it's different for you. You're an accountant, but I've got a calculator. I've got a calculator in my pocket. I've got a supercomputer in my pocket. Why do I need to learn these things? And it's not necessarily about learning maths, for example. It's about learning the processes of how to solve a problem. It's not necessarily about the problem itself. It's about learning to solve the problem.
and the different steps involved there.
And the different steps involved. It is, very, very similar thing.
Yeah, exactly. In a different way, but yeah.
Interesting. So what do you gain from going outside your comfort zone, though?
Well, I think you've kind of touched on that in terms of the learning, the development, the growth, the opportunity. But in the end, it depends what one wants. But generally, it's either satisfaction, it's some kind of a benefit, it's a change. Because I think at its core, people take action or do something different for two main reasons. Okay? It's either pain or gain.
Yep.
Someone's in pain, be it financial, business, personal, health, whatever, okay, and they want to get rid of that pain, or it's to seek a gain and a benefit, okay, and they like that benefit, so then now they've got to go on a particular journey to get to that particular destination that they've chosen. That's what gets most people started. And of course,
But which is the better motivator?
by far pain, because pain gets people to act much quicker than gain. Okay, so pain pretty much is the accelerator for action. Gain is the continuation
Of action.
Yeah, helps you to continue, keep doing it because you think that's a better place. Okay, whatever that might be, and I want that.
And
But-
discipline is the link between the two.
Yeah, absolutely, and commitment. Yeah. So that's the kind of the two primary reasons why people take action, and different people are obviously wired differently and have different experiences and different expectations in terms of what they want to achieve and what they want to do. Some people, as you know, always live dangerously in the sense that they're always looking to grow, develop, okay, and have that growth mindset. Others are kind of reserved, relaxed, comfortable, and don't want to do anything that's different. So it's just finding a balance of what works, and different things work for different people, by the way.
Yes, yeah. But as we've discussed before, success does leave clues, and to be successful, you cannot stay in your comfort zone. Whatever you want to achieve, you can achieve success, and then success becomes part of your comfort zone because you're always pushing the boundary of your comfort zone, but you won't get to a level of success without leaving your comfort zone because you won't learn the new skills, you won't develop your mindset, you won't become adaptable to change, you won't set realistic goals and achieve them and then move
If
them.
you go to people who like walking, rambling, etc., as you know, Kieran, and some people go to the woods, but if you walk down the same path every single time, then you're not going to discover what truly lies in those woods and what the other paths might hold.
Sometimes you've got to leave the beaten path.
You've got to explore, okay, and see what else there is. And you might like it and you might not, but how do you know until you try it?
And you never know. I mean, I find personally that leaving my comfort zone was massive as a child. I say massive as a child. It was massive when I was growing up. I was always consistently trying new things and trying to change things and move things around and different things and experimenting and all the rest of it. And then as I grew older and older, that comfort zone kind of shrank back in a way that looking back, I never expected, but it's not something I consciously thought about. So, massive comfort zone, willing to do anything, willing to try anything, willing to grow, willing to push myself as a child, shrunk back, until I got to a pain point where I wasn't where I wanted to be and I couldn't see a way out. And that was my pain. And so I started looking around for ways to change that. And the first step was I got myself a mentor, a life coach, if you like, someone that you know. And Paul helped me break that mindset of just living where I was and start stepping back out into who I used to be as a younger man, learning things, trying new things, growing, and that has all led me to here. And I'm still it's an awareness of it that makes a huge difference. And that level of awareness that people, if you don't know what you don't know, but if you're unaware that you don't know, then you can't do anything to change it.
Yeah, and that's why obviously seeking knowledge is important, but most of us, or enough of us, know that change is the only constant.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got to be able to embrace it, or at least acknowledge and accept it, and then depending on how you want to go on that journey, you need to be aware of it.
Yeah.
And there are obviously lots of things people can do, but I think the biggest one that I see, Kieran, is in all of this is self-limitations.
Yes.
Why they can't do something, why somebody else thinks they can't do something, why they haven't got the time, why they haven't got the patience, why they haven't got the confidence, why they haven't got the skills, the knowledge, the expertise, why they don't like to adapt, why they don't want to embrace change. And sometimes that's sad because you see people have so much competence and capabilities, and there could be so much more just with a small change of 1, 2, 3%. I'm talking, okay, they could really change their life, but they just don't want that for whatever reason. And I think a lot of people are sometimes unable to visualize success.
Yes.
Because I just can't picture it, I can't see it, I can't look that far down the path.
Well, I've found that, growth mindset, comfort zone mindset, challenging yourself, it all comes down to mindset and awareness. And there are so many people that I speak to that you mention mindset to them, or, but I've got an abundance mindset, I've got a wealth mindset, I've got a growth mindset, I want to learn, I want to challenge things, I want to continue to grow. They see anything to do with mindset as this kind of fluffy,
warm, fluffy, fuzzy,
high in the
woo-woo
sky
stuff. Yeah.
Woo-wah.
Yeah. And I think with that, in terms of comfort zone, getting out of the comfort zone, I think it's important to seek support.
Yes, yeah.
From people who've been there, or people that you trust, who are going to encourage you, support you, put their arm around you, and
you don't have to do it alone.
Don't have to do it alone. Yeah.
Yeah, life is not a solo game.
No, of course not.
It's a team effort.
It's a team sport. And then with that, I think learning from your failures.
Yeah.
I call them lessons, by the way. But learning from your failures and saying, how can I make sure that I don't repeat this again and get a better outcome?
Yeah. There's a phrase that...
a phrase that pays?
A phrase that pays. No. So good advice usually comes from bad experience. Bad experience comes from bad advice. Bad advice comes from a lack of life lessons.
Yep. Absolutely.
It all links in together. And if you want to be able to have good advice, take good advice, then you've got to have tripped up along the way, and you've got to have grown. And if you've grown, then you've got good advice to give because you've got good experience.
Well said.
And I think...
You're getting smarter, Kieran.
Well, I do like to continually grow.
Is that because of pain or gain?
Initially, I started because of pain, and I continue because I want the gains, because I recognise and I have that awareness.
Good.
Thanks for listening to Wealth Made Simple. You can follow and contact Shaz on the Facebook pages Entrust Property Tax and The Profits Wizard. You can also find Shaz on LinkedIn, YouTube and Instagram. Alternatively, email him at shaz@aa-accountants.co.uk. Build your wealth by mastering money.